Gaura, Gaura, Nittai Gaura, 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 Nittai Gaura, 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 Nittai Gaura, Hare.
Welcome to Navadvipa.
Welcome to Navadvipa.
Navadvipa is the special island of Jana Muni
Navadvipa is the special island where Janu Muni
resided.
resided.
When the Bhagirathi was being taken down the Ganges,
When Bhagirathi was taken down to Ganges,
it started to flood Mount Jana Muni's ashram.
it started to flood Janu Muni's ashram.
He was a great sage,
He was a great sage,
great rishi.
great rishi.
He had mystic powers.
He had mystic
He was
powers.
angry at the Ganges.
He was angry at the Ganges.
He drank it.
He drank it.
Ah! And then Bhagi Maharaj,
And then Bhagi Maharaj,
he was going down taking his rod, taking the way for the Ganges.
and then he was going down on his rod digging the way for the Ganges.
And he saw that there was no Ganges.
He saw there was no Ganges.
And then he approached Jana Muni and he questioned him to please help up the Ganges.
Then he went to Janu Muni and he requested Janu Muni to cough up the Ganges.
He said, I'm sorry, I digested her.
He said, I'm sorry, I have digested her.
I said, if you can drink the Ganges and digest the Ganges, then you can also reproduce the Ganges.
So he said, if you can drink the Ganges, you can digest the Ganges, so you can also reproduce the Ganges.
And then Jana Muni, the Ganges came out from his knee.
Then the Ganges came out from his knee.
And then that's why one of the names of the Ganges is Janavi.
That's why one of the names of Ganges is Janavi.
She came from Jana Muni,
She came from Janu Muni,
his knee.
from his knee.
So then we go to the temple of Sangha Thakur,
Then we go to the temple of Saranga Thakur.
and the deity of Vasudeva Datta is also there.
And the deity of Vasudev Datta is also there.
And then we leave Janadvipa and go to Madhudram.
Then we leave Janudvip and we go to Madhudram Dvip.
See the birthplace of His Holiness, His Divine Grace, Vrindavan Das Thakur.
And we see the birthplace of His Divine Grace Vrindavan Das Thakur.
On our way from the Vrindavan Das Thakur birthplace,
On the way from the Vrindavan Das Thakur's birthplace,
we find on the side of the old Ganga,
we find on the site of old Ganga,
Arkatila,
Arkatila,
which is not different from Surjakunda,
which is non-different from Surya Kunda.
and that is the holy place in Navadvipa Dham.
That is a holy place in Navadvipa Dham.
And then he head along the road
Then we head along the road
by the side of the Parikrama.
by the side of the Ganga.
There we reached a place where the 5 Pandavas and Draupadi resided.
Then we reached to a place where 5 Pandavas and Draupadi resided.
That place is known as Mahatpur.
That place is known as Mahatpur.
That's also Lupta Tirtha that we located.
That's also a Lupta Tirtha which we located.
Hare Krishna, Bhakti Vrinda. আমরা জনদ্বীপে এসেছি এবং এখানে এই পবিত্র স্থান হচ্ছে জনদ্বীপ মুনির আশ্রম।
Hare Krishna devotees, my name is Bhakti Chaitanya Swami. I'm very happy to be here with you, participating in this wonderful virtual Navadvipa Mandal Parikrama. Today we're going to Janudvip. To begin, let me just read a prayer from Srila Prabodhananda Saraswati. He prays, I pray that birth after birth I may be a clump of grass in the land of Janudvip, which is worshipped even by the king of the demigods. That would be my joy. Yes, so when Lord Nityananda was taking Srila Jiva Goswami on their great Navadvipa Mandal Parikrama, then when they came here to Janudvip, they saw the hermitage, beautiful hermitage of Janu Muni, and Lord Nityananda told Jiva Goswami, this enchanting place named Janudvip is known as Bhadravan in Vrindavan. At this place, Janu Muni underwent penances and received darshan of the golden form of Gauranga. Yes, so it's a little bit of a long story. In Krishna consciousness, we have many long stories. But, of course, Janudvip is one of the 9 islands of Navadvip. Traditionally, at least traditionally by our standards, ISKCON standards, previously Janudvip would be the island we would just go through the quickest in a matter of maybe an hour or something. We'd come from Vidyanagar early in the morning, and we'd just walk straight through and then go to Modadrum. We'd stop in front of one big banyan tree, which was on the right-hand side. And what I'm about to explain to you now would be explained there. So let's get into it. Many years ago, long ago, there was a great king called Maharaj Saga. He wanted to perform an Ashvamedha sacrifice. And so he made all arrangements. Everything was set up for the sacrifice. And Ashvamedha sacrifice, of course, means horse sacrifice. So they had very wonderful, special horse. And not just any horse. And they were ready to start when Lord Indra stole the horse. So what to do? They couldn't just take some other horse, any other horse from anywhere. They had to get that horse back. So the sons of Maharaj Saga He had two wives, Sumati and Keshini. His sons, through Sumati, they went and searched for that horse. Eventually, they found their way down to what is the current-day Gangasagar area, just where the Ganges enters the Indian Ocean. And sure enough, at one ashram, they saw the horse. And they assumed, aha, whoever owns this ashram must have stolen the horse. Now, the person who owned the ashram was Lord Kapila. And those young men made the very terrible mistake of accusing him of stealing the horse. He's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. How can they do that? So they came to attack him. But then Lord Kapila burnt them to ashes. So now there were just a whole lot of piles of ashes in front of the ashram. So the news got back to Maharaj Saga, and his second wife, Keshini, she had a son named Asamanjasa. And he tried to sort things out, he couldn't, but then his son, Angsuman, he dedicated himself to get the horse back and also to make arrangements to deliver his forefathers, his uncles, who were down there at that ashram there, their bodies burnt to ashes. So he went and met with Lord Kapila and offered prayers to him very humbly and very nicely. And Lord Kapila gave him the horse back. But then Angsuman didn't leave. He just stood there silently. In his heart he was praying, please help me to deliver my forefathers whose bodies have been burnt to ashes here in front of your ashram. So Lord Kapila, he understood, and he said that if you put water from the Ganges on the ashes of the bodies of your forefathers, they'll be delivered. So just go get some Ganges water. Now, in those days, the Ganges was not flowing through the planet and through India as it does now. It needed to be brought from the higher regions. So Angsuman took back the horse, the sacrifice was done, then Maharaj Saga handed over the kingdom to him, and Angsuman, he started a program of performing austerity to try to get the Ganges to come down to planet Earth. But before he could be successful, he died. Then his son was Dilip, who was also a very pious king and who also wanted to do the same thing. But he also died before he could be successful in bringing the Ganges. His son was Bhagirat. So Bhagirat, he was completely determined to make a success of this and bring the Ganges and deliver his forefathers. So he performed severe austerities and prayed to the Ganges to appear, and Mother Ganga came and revealed herself to him. So he appealed to her, please come with me, means flow down through the universe and through this planet, and then I can place your waters on the ashes of my forefathers. And she was not unwilling, but she had two concerns. She said that if I come down through the universe to land on this planet, I will hit it so hard it may smash the planet. So I need some strong person to catch the Ganges just as it's coming down to fall on the earth. Plus, if my waters just then run through the planet and just keep running through, then many sinful people will bathe in my waters, and my waters will become contaminated. So somehow or other, some arrangement has to be made so my waters don't become contaminated. So Bhagirat, he was very intelligent. He said, I will arrange with Lord Shiva for him to catch your waters before they land on this planet. And to keep your waters pure, the great devotees, generation after generation, they will bathe in your waters. In this way, your waters will remain pure. So Mother Ganges agreed. Down she came. She landed on Lord Shiva's head, and he then released from his head a fountain of Ganges water falling gently on the planet. And then Maharaj Bhagirat on his horse went riding down through the Himalayas, then down across the Ganges plains, north and northeastern India. He was riding in front with the Ganges coming behind him. He arrived in the Navadvipa area, and suddenly he realized the Ganges was not there behind him. What had happened? Well, two things had happened. One thing was that Mother Ganges knew that her Lord Gauranga, Lord Chaitanya, was going to appear there in Navadvipa in the Kali Yuga. So she wanted to have darshan of that place. Therefore, she stopped. The other thing that happened was that at that time, Janu Muni was living in his ashram right here in Janudweep. And he was doing puja when suddenly the Ganges came through and started washing things away. And it washed away his Achaman cup. He became unhappy about that. So he swallowed the whole Ganges. Oh, Krishna. So Bhagirat understood what had happened. And he approached Janu Muni. And for a week, he offered very humble prayers. Please release the Ganges so I can deliver my forefathers. And eventually Janu Muni agreed. And the Ganges, which was within him, he released through his thigh. Therefore, Mother Ganges, one of her names is Jahnavi. She's taken to be like a daughter of Janu Muni. So then on they went, Maharaj Bhagirat riding in front of the Ganges, and the Ganges pouring along behind him through the countryside of what is now West Bengal. And they arrived down there at Ganga Sagar, and Maharaj Bhagirat was able to take some water, pour it on the ashes of his forefathers, and in that way, his forefathers were delivered. Yes, so it's really quite an extraordinary pastime, isn't it? Really. There's more to it also. It's a long story, but because in Krishna consciousness, we have many long stories. But that's the essence of it. And now here on our amazing virtual Navadvipa Dham Parikrama, here we are in this very, very sacred place. Of course, in more recent years, our devotees have acquired land just a little away from the main road. So now We don't just sort of zip through Janudvip so quickly, as I remember having done many, many times in the past. But now the devotees stay overnight on Janudvip and are able to take in the beautiful, sublime, transcendental nature up there where our ISKCON ashram is in Janudvip. It's this very beautiful forest. It's very peaceful, and one can feel the transcendental atmosphere there. So Lord Gauranga, he is continuing having his pastimes here in Janudvip, as he is all over Navadvipa Dham. And even now in this virtual format, if we pray nicely to the Lord and we really try to absorb ourselves in remembering this pastime, then we'll also feel the presence of Lord Gauranga during this Parikrama. Hare Krishna. Shri Janamuni Ki, Maharaj Bhagirath Ki, Shri Janudvip Ki, Shri Gauranga Mahaprabhu Ki, Shri Navadvipa Mandal Parikrama Ki, Srila Prabhupada Ki, Go Premanande.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gauranga, Nitai Gauranga, Nitai Gauranga, Jaya Nitai Gauranga, Nitai Gauranga, Jaya Nitai Gauranga, Gaura 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 Hari, Gaura 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 Hari, Nitai Gauranga, Jaya Gaura Hari. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. We are still on Parikrama, Navadvipa Parikrama. This was precious opportunity given to us by our Acharya, Lord Nityananda Prabhu. He took Srila Jiva Goswami on Parikrama. Srila Prabhupada, he did the same thing and he introduced Parikrama, that everybody should do that. Every year, devotees should come from different places to come and purify ourselves. Vrindavan do Parikrama, Navadvipa will do Parikrama. Prabhupada established this. So it is not something that we're just starting. It is something our Acharya has established. And it is our duty to just sincerely follow that. After all, our system is to follow. So, which island we are? Navadvipa. And who is a devotee who perfected the life here? Hanumanji. And what does he represent? Which limb of bhakti represent? Dasya. Service. Servant. Hanuman is a symbol of service. Servant. And what is his attitude? When you say servant, they are servant who does not serve because they are servant. They serve for money. They are not servant. They serve for remuneration. They are not servant. So when we say servant, it has a different meaning. And that meaning, it is only exhibited or explained and perfectly understood only in Christian consciousness by devotees. So Hanuman, how did he serve Lord Ramachandra? Hanuman served Lord Krishna without false pride, as the Papa said in Bhagavad Gita. Like a menial servant without false prestige. That is servant. A servant cannot be a servant if the servant is not selfless. He can't be selfless if he is collecting something, if he has some expectations for the service we render. So Prabhupada mentioned in many purports, a servant cannot serve the master if there is no money. And a master cannot pay the salary if there is no service. So it is not service. The service is devotional. Devotional. So you see, Prabhupada added devotion to service. So he said devotional service. So Hanuman is a perfect representative of servant, the symbol of servant, because he served the Supreme Lord Ramachandra 100%, and ready to do anything to do his service. There is a pastime of Hanuman. So one day he asked Sita Devi, why you put this Sindhu? What is the significance of these things? Why you put this thing? Say, oh, my Lord likes it. Hanuman went and carried a whole bucket of and bathed himself fully. Lord said, what is this? I want to make the Lord happy. I want to make the Lord happy with my service. I want to please the Lord with service. Hanuman is ready to do anything to please her. Tell Hanuman, enter your fire. If Ramachandra is be happy with that, he will enter without reservation, no hesitation, no second thought. He will do it. That is Hanumanji. So we are blessed to have these wonderful islands and the great personalities showing us the way of bhakti. Sri Hanumanji ki jai.
So Navadvipa is non-different from Ayodhya, and it is also non-different from Bhandirvan of Brajamandal. So Navadvipa means the island of Moda and Druma. Moda means bliss. Druma means the tree. So Lord Ramchandra came during Treta Yuga here in Navadvipa, and he was under a banyan tree, and he was very happy and blissful. And by seeing that, Sita Devi started asking question to Lord Ramchandra, that, my dear Lord, why you are so happy? So Lord Ramchandra said that in coming Kali Yuga, so I'll appear here as Gaurachandra. I'll appear here as Nimai Pandit. And you also appear, Sita Devi, you will also appear as Vishnupriya Devi. And Kaushalya Devi also will appear as Sachi Mata. And he was telling that in this pastime, Lord Ramchandra was telling Sita Devi that in this pastime, you will go to the forest and I will worship your golden form. But in reciprocation of that, when I will appear as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when I will appear as Gauranga Mahaprabhu, in that pastime, I will go to the forest and you will worship my golden form. So Mahaprabhu was explaining this pastime, and he was telling Sita Devi also that in my pastime as Nimai, at the age of 24, I will take sannyas. So when Sita Devi heard that, then he said, if you want to take sannyas, then why is the need to get married? And Mahaprabhu revealed something very confidential to Sita Devi in this island, the mood of Vipralambha. So all of you know that we can serve Krishna in union and we can also serve Krishna in separation. So when devotees serve Krishna in union, that is known as Sambhoga. And when the devotees serve Krishna in separation, that is known as Vipralambha. So the mood of the Gauriya Vaishnavas is Vipralambha mood. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to exhibit that mood. And Lord Ramchandra revealed to Sita Devi that the Lord makes devotees separated from him in order to intensify the love of the devotees. And when there is union after separation, then that intensity is very, very high. So in order to intensify the love of the devotees, the Lord keeps the devotees in separation from him. So Radharani experienced that separation also when Krishna left Vrindavan. And the same mood was experienced by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu while he was in Jagannath Puri. So that mood was explained by Lord Ramchandra to Sita Devi at this island of Madhudrumadip. So for the Gauriya Vaishnava, this island is very, very important because of this confidential message was conveyed by Lord Ramchandra to Sita Devi. So Lord Ramchandra was experiencing the bliss or delight under a banyan tree, and because of that this island is known as Madhudrumadip.
Hare Krishna, Shushagatam, Bhaktabrinda, Navadvipa Dham, Parikrama. আজকে আমরা মধ্যম দ্বীপে এসেছি এবং আমাদের সঙ্গে পূজ্যপাদ শিলা বিজয় ভাগবত স্বামী মহারাজ উপস্থিত আছেন। উনি আমাদেরকে নিয়ে পুরো মধ্যম দ্বীপে একটু ভ্রমণ করবেন। চলুন আমরা এখন মন্দির দর্শন করতে যাই।
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama
Hare Krishna. Now we are in the house of Saranga Murari, and we will listen from Maharaj about the story of Saranga Murari Thakur and his pastimes with Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu, in his pastime of education and learning, he would come in this place. Saranga Murari was an elderly figure to Mahaprabhu, like his fatherly figure. Mahaprabhu would respect him very much, and they would sit here and they would discuss Krishna Katha. And Saranga Murari Thakur, he would worship Madan Gopal. Here you have already seen the wonderful deity of Madan Gopal. Mahaprabhu would always ask to Saranga Murari, the Thakur, who would be your descendant for worshipping this deity of Madan Gopal? Who will come next to you? Who will worship Madan Gopal after you? So therefore, I think you should accept a disciple, and that disciple can continue the service and worship of Madan Gopal. But Saranga Murari would not agree to that. Saranga Murari would reply that this is very difficult. It's not easy to get a qualified disciple and qualified servant. Unless and until the spiritual master, the guru, has good fortune, he cannot get a good disciple, good servant. So I haven't seen such a qualified disciple, qualified person who would continue this service, this worship after me. Now Mahaprabhu said that the spiritual master, the Gurudev, he will make the disciple qualified. So Saranga Murari, like that, Mahaprabhu would request him again and again and again, but he wouldn't agree. So Saranga Muni said, okay, I cannot distinguish, I cannot discriminate between qualified and unqualified. So therefore, tomorrow morning after waking up, whoever I will see the first person I will see, I will accept him as my disciple. So whole night he has been thinking that whom will I see tomorrow morning? Who will come first in front of me tomorrow morning? So whatever, next morning he woke up, and as usual his usual routine was that every day morning he would wake up and he would go to taking bath in Ganges. So Ganges is almost 2 kilometers from this place now currently. So he went to Ganges for taking bath, and then suddenly something touched his feet. He looked at it and he saw that a dead body has come there. And he saw a very beautiful young boy, the dead body of the young boy. And he has nice tilak on his forehead, white cloth, and very nice sacred Brahman thread, like that very beautiful young boy. So again and again he was looking at the face of that young boy. Saranga Murari was looking at the face of the young boy, very nice, beautiful boy, and he was thinking, he got the mood of Vatsalya, the mood of parenthood, that if I would get a boy like this, then I would make him a disciple. But this boy is dead. What to do? And again he thought that, but I have given my promise to Mahaprabhu that whoever I will see first tomorrow morning, I will accept him as my disciple. So what to do? Then Saranga Murari, he started chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra in the ear of the dead body, small boy. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Then by hearing the holy name from the mouth of Saranga Murari, gradually there was life in the dead body. And that the disciple, that boy, he sat down, he woke up and sat down, and he asked, who are you? And then he said that, my dear Lord, I am a dead body, dead soul. And I was getting the Upavita Samskar. I was born in Brahmana family, but just after, right after my Upanayan Samskar, I was bitten by a snake and I died. And someone who dies by snake bite, generally, usually that dead body is not burned. It is thrown on the water. And my parents, when they heard that, they saw that I am dead, so they have put me on the Ganges. I was floating on the Ganges. And the mercy of the Supreme Lord and the connection by the Supreme Creator, that I have got your darshan, your blessings, and I have got my life back by your blessings. Oh my dear Lord, I want to be your servant, and I want to continue my service unto you. And Saranga Murari's heart, it was filled with Vatsalya Rasa, that Mahaprabhu has instructed me, ordered me. And I think by the mercy of Mahaprabhu, this is a right qualified person. Then he initiated this small boy and brought him to his house, and he named him Murari Chaitanya Das. Saranga Thakur gave the name to this small boy, that Murari Chaitanya Das. And later on, he was entrusted with the responsibility of service of the deity. Next day Mahaprabhu came, and as soon as Mahaprabhu came, that disciple, he came and offered Dandavat Pranam, prostrated obeisances to Mahaprabhu, and he was folding his hand and he was crying, profusely crying. Tears was coming down from his eyes, and Mahaprabhu asked him, my dear child, what is your name? And that boy responded that my dear Lord, the name of this fallen soul is Murari Chaitanya Das, and I am that Mahanta Mahavaishnava of this place, Shri, my spiritual master Saranga Murari, his disciple. I am his disciple, a fallen disciple of him. And Mahaprabhu was testing him, trying to test him, examine him. So Mahaprabhu asked him, okay, now you are alive, you have got your life back. Now you can go back to your house, your home. And then he replied that, "Oh, I am dead, so I don't have any connection, I don't have any contact with my families." And then he was profusely crying that, "My dear Lord, please bless me. I don't want to leave the lotus feet, the shelter of the lotus feet of my spiritual master. I want to continue here and serve him." Then Saranga Murari was called, Mahaprabhu called Saranga Murari, Saranga Thakur, that, "Prabhu, come here." And Saranga Thakur was very much, he was a little bit embarrassed that he came to Mahaprabhu and he offered Dandavat Pranam to Mahaprabhu with respect. And Mahaprabhu told him that Krishna has given you a very qualified disciple. Saranga Thakur said that, "I don't know, but by your blessings, everything has happened. Everything took place by your mercy only." Maharaj, in this transcendental, wonderful place that our devotees of Parikrama, they want to hear from you the relationship between Guru and disciple. Can you please describe that to us? The relationship between disciple and the spiritual master has been described in all the different scriptures, like Padma Puran and different scriptures. Yasya deve para bhaktir yatha deve tatha guru tasyaithe katitha hi artha prakashante mahatmana. If the disciple, how the disciple worships the Supreme Personality of Godhead, if he worships the spiritual master equally or in the same manner, same way, Yasadeva Parabhakti. Deva means the Supreme Lord. Just like he worships the Supreme Lord, similarly, in the similar fashion, he should worship the spiritual master. Tasyaita kathita hi artha. All the essence of the revealed Vedic scriptures are revealed in the heart of that disciple. Here you can see this Gurupit, Saranga Murari. Saranga Thakur, he revealed the Vedic knowledge, realizations in the heart of his disciple Saranga Murari, means Murari, Chaitanya Das. Here you can see the blessings of spiritual master unto the disciple, and the spiritual master got Vatsalya Bhava, the mood of parenthood to the disciple by looking at the disciple. So that he was thinking that if I could get one boy like this who as my disciple, then I could myself train him in the worship and service of Madan Gopal. And the disciple also, he also became a qualified disciple like this. He also became a qualified personality servant like this. I will not leave the lotus feet of Gurudev, spiritual master, my spiritual master who has given me my life. I want to dedicate my life unto him. Then he has shown, exemplified the attachment and devotion at the lotus feet of spiritual master. And thus Mahaprabhu, he blessed him. Murari Chaitanya, Mahaprabhu blessed and embraced Murari Chaitanya. And he blessed him that the only goal of your life is to worship your spiritual master and Madan Gopal in this place. So in this wonderful place, Gurupit, all of you have come here, and we will pray to Madan Gopal and Murari Chaitanya Prabhu. We should pray unmotivatedly that all of us who have got spiritual master, we should get unmotivated, unflinching attraction towards spiritual master, and we should get the blessings of spiritual master and Mahaprabhu and Madan Gopal, and we can fulfill our life as a disciple. In this place you should come and you can roll on the ground and get the blessings. So this great tree, wonderful tree, in the house of Saranga Murari Shripat. Maharaj, can you please describe about this wonderful tree to us?
Shripate, Shamande, Ektu Bolun.
So dear devotees, now we are in this transcendental holy place of Saranga Murari Shripat. This tree, Siddha Bakula tree, Siddha Bakula Sthan, the place of Siddha Bakul. Mahaprabhu would sit down here. Saranga Murari and Mahaprabhu would sit down here, and they would describe and they would discuss Krishna Katha. Whenever Mahaprabhu, he would go from here to Vidyanagar. Then on the way of his Pathshala, his school, Mahaprabhu went on the way to Vidyanagar from his house, Mayapur. On the way, Mahaprabhu would come here and he would sit beneath this tree of Siddha Bakul along with Saranga Murari, And Saranga Murari would worship Madan Gopal, and both would sit here and they would discuss Krishna Katha. And it was a great, gigantic, huge tree. Under this tree, they would sit. Saranga Murari, he would sit and he would chant lakhs, more than lakhs, holy name. And by chanting the holy name, this tree became Siddha, perfected tree. Mahaprabhu was thinking that at that time there was no other houses and all. So Mahaprabhu and Saranga Murari would sit down here. Saranga Murari would perform his worship, his chanting here. Mahaprabhu would say, Murari, that you are sitting under this tree and in the sun, under the sunlight. If this tree dies, what will happen? What will happen? Then Saranga Thakur said, Prabhu, whatever you say, I don't know what will happen. So Mahaprabhu said that I will make this tree perfect. Mahaprabhu embraced this tree. So this tree is from the time of Mahaprabhu, 500 years back. 500 years old. 500 years old tree. Mahaprabhu has come here and he embraced this tree. So all of us should come here and we should offer our respectful obeisances unto this Siddha Bakul tree, and we should get the blessings of Mahaprabhu. And Mahaprabhu's personal touch is there on this tree. Earlier we would come here and we would touch this tree. Now for protecting this tree, they have given a boundary here. And lots of tulsi trees. So we can offer our obeisances from a great distance. All of us should offer this obeisances. This Purusottam month, we are taking Havishanya Prasadam. This Purusottam month, Purusottam Brata, and then Parikrama. It's wonderful. Krishna Lila Bhagavate Kohe Vedovyas Chaitanya Lilar Vyas Vrindavana Das. So now we are in the Shripat of Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur, in the house of Vrindavan Das Thakur, and Maharaj, he would explain to us the who is Vrindavan Das Thakur amongst our acharyas and the importance, significance of this place.
শ্রীকৃষ্ণ চৈতন্য জীবে দয়া করি সপার্শ্বদ সিও ধাম সহ অবতরী।
Lord Sri Krishna, he appeared in this Navadvip, in this land of Navadvip, along with all his associates, and with them, amongst them was Vedavyas, Vyasdev. Vedavyas who compiled the Vedas, and we can see in the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam, compiled Bhagavatam, he has divided the Vedas into four Vedas, and through his disciples he preached the Vedas amongst his disciplic successions. And those people who are unqualified, the women, the Shudras, the unqualified Brahmanas. Then he compiled Mahabharata for them. Then Vyasdev, he compiled Srimad Bhagavatam. And Vrindavan Das Thakur, who was Vyasdev in previous pastime, the same personality, he has come here as Vyasdev and he has composed Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat or Gaur Bhagavat. And here it is said that Narayani Chaitanyara Uchchista Bhajan Tar Garbhe Jonmila Sri Das Vrindavan. Sri Vrindavan Das Thakur appeared in her womb of Narayani, and she was the daughter of the brother of Srivas Thakur, niece of Srivas Thakur, and she received the remnant of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and Vrindavan Das Thakur appeared in the womb of that Narayani. In this particular place, the birthplace of Vrindavan Das Thakur, the Janmasthan of Vrindavan Das Thakur.
বৃন্দাবন দাস কইল চৈতন্য মঙ্গল যাহার শ্রবণে নাসে সর্ব অমঙ্গল।
Vrindavan Das Thakur, he compiled this Chaitanya Bhagavat, and if someone studies Chaitanya Bhagavat, he himself will get benefited and the whole world will get benefited. Chaitanya Nitai, we can understand the glories of Chaitanya Nitai. Who is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Who is Nityananda Prabhu? We have to understand, we have to read Chaitanya Bhagavat from Chaitanya Bhagavat. We have nice book Chaitanya Bhagavat in ISKCON, and English, Bengali, in all the languages we can read Chaitanya Bhagavat.
মনুষ্য রচিতে নারে ওইছে গ্রন্থ ধন্য বৃন্দাবন দাস মুখে বক্তা শ্রী চৈতন্য।
A human being cannot compile such book, but Vrindavan Das Thakur himself compiled it, but the speaker of Chaitanya Bhagavat was Mahaprabhu himself. It's such a wonderful, great book, Vrindavan Das Thakur, that he has done a great activity, a great benevolent act for the whole world. Please collect that book. Those who are Bengali devotees, please collect this book. This book is there in ISKCON. Another great, wonderful news that nice, wonderful arrangement is there in this wonderful temple, great temple. And we are also trying, we have also taken some steps on behalf of ISKCON, that all the birthplaces and all the place of worships and all the houses of the associates of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that we will protect these places very nicely. We want to maintain these places very nicely. This is our attempt to nicely maintain and protect the 9 islands of Navadvipa Dham. And throughout the whole year, whenever the devotees of whole world will come for the Parikrama, they will stay here, they will do their bhajan here. Therefore, all these places, we are trying to maintain them, but we need some financial support for this thing, that we are seeking your help in this regard, that please come ahead, come forward and extend your hands for helping us in this wonderful, in this great work. And our future generations, they will come and they will see this. So they should get a nice place here to come and sit and do the worship and bhajan here. They can also get the blessings from all these places, and then they can also become fortunate for that. In Vrindavan Dham, Srimati Radharani, she would go every day along with her friends for worshipping Surya in Surya Kunda. Radharani, Lalita, Vishakha, Champaklata, Rangadevi, Tungavidya, all the 8 principal Sakhis. First of all, they would assemble in Radha Kunda. So all the Sakhis, they would assemble together, and then they would go to Surya Tila for worshipping Surya. And then they would go to Kusum Sarovar. That particular place, Surya Tila or Surya Kunda in Vrindavan, this place where I am standing here right behind me, this is called Arkatila, which is non-different from that Surya Kunda, Surya Tila in Vrindavan.
व्रजे प्रसिद्धं नवनीतचौरं व्रजे प्रसिद्धं नवनीतचौरं गोपाङ्गनानां चतुकुलचौरं गोपाङ्गनानां चतुकुलचौरम् अनेकजन्मार्जितपापचौरम् अनेकजन्मार्जितपापचौरं चौराग्रगण्यं पुरुषं नमामि चौराग्रगण्यं पुरुषं नमामि श्रीराधिकाया हृदयस्य चौरं श्रीराधिकाया हृदयस्य चौरं नवाम्बुद श्यामलकान्तिचौरं नवाम्बुद श्यामलकान्तिचौरं पदाश्रितानां च समस्तचौरं पदाश्रितानां च समस्तचौरं चौराग्रगण्यं पुरुषं नमामि चौराग्रगण्यं पुरुषं नमामि